Welcome to the Haunted Hangover podcast. I'm Louie, and I'm joined by Manny.
Yo, yo, yo.
With his nice leopard print Santa hat.
That's right.
Is it black or green? It looks green in this.
Green.
Okay, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, wait a second.
Green.
It looks like it's a. I was like, is it a off black? No,
Nope.
it's a green.
It
I have
is
no
green.
Santa hat. You know what? Funny enough, I do have a Santa hat. It's right here.
Look at that.
I have a black one. I don't know if I'm going to wear it, though, right now. It's kind of tight on my head.
I have a couple of black ones, and they all say bah humbug, but they're like old and ratty, so we just hang them off the, we stick them on the ends of the curtain rods in the dining room.
Oh, that's
So
a good idea.
Just two black Christmas hats just hanging off the curtain rods.
I have this one, but my head's too big for it. So I just kind of put it on this pumpkin.
This doesn't, like, if I gotta, like, I put this on and I'll hold it there for like a minute just to kind of stretch it out, because, you know, sitting in a box all year, it kind of contracts.
Gets all tight on you, and it's gets all tight on you. Man. While you're wearing it, it gets tight. No. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like a sweater.
I've had this forever, though. I don't know how long I've had this hat.
Oh, really? It looks fairly new.
I know. Well, I mean, how often do you take out a Santa hat?
All year round, Manny. Come on.
You know?
Just wear it in February.
I'm not the Christmas year-round person. There's another holiday that I kind of do all the time.
Which one? Which one's that?
Guy Fawkes.
Oh, okay.
Guy Fawkes.
Got it. Got it now. Okay. For the listeners that are not aware, what is that?
Guy Fawkes Day. Remember the 5th of November. The guy who tried to destroy Parliament so he could bring back religious rule in England.
There we go.
And for some reason, people celebrate him as a revolutionary. The fucking guy wanted religious rule. He wanted to bring the church back to England.
And that's the main topic on the podcast
that's
today.
What we're talking. V for Vendetta today on our Christmas episode.
On this Christmas episode of the Haunted Hangover podcast, we're talking about the most Christmas movie of all time, V for Vendetta. All jokes aside, that is not what we're talking about. No. Unfortunately, we're not talking about Natalie Portman shaving her head. Nope. Even though she did look lovely with it.
Yeah, she did.
Not gonna lie. Didn't faze me one bit. Why? So, but yes, this is an idea we discussed a while ago. I think a few weeks ago, a month or two ago.
A while
ago.
It's part of an idea that we've had of doing an entirely separate series of episodes of originals versus remakes.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what, instead of just covering each film, we're just going to pit them against each other. Yep. And kind of not pit each other against it because I know for a fact there's certain things about each of these movies you probably like that I don't, and vice versa. So it's kind of like a battle royal, which is what the name of this episode is, a Black Christmas battle royal. Now, I'm assuming, I'm sure you would agree with me, most of the listeners are familiar with the original film, the remake, and the second remake that came out a few years ago.
I think less people are familiar with the newest one because it got such terrible reviews. Most people just skipped it. They didn't even bother.
Didn't it come out during the pandemic too?
Just before. It's 2019.
Just before. So it really, yeah, you're right. It was like that December before. We'll go through the dates and stuff real quick and who directed each one. But yeah, we're not going to go through each film. Maybe a quick off the top.
Mm-hmm. Well, there should be some level of refresher for those.
Yes. Because each one is, I'd say, not drastically different, but have different plot points. All involve a sorority. That's what they all have in common. Mm-hmm. But each of them, and I'd say the newest remake is probably the most different. It probably veers away from the original the most. It does. To the point that I've seen people say, why are you even calling this Black Christmas? I think there's a reason why it's called Black Christmas because of something that happens in the movie. But it's probably the one that strays away from the source material the most
drastically, for sure. Yes.
You know, even the first remake, I'd say, took a lot of liberties with expanding on just a couple of different things that are in the original and just kind of it's basically the first movie on crack. Like
Well,
it's sort of.
Look, you want to get into the quick plot synopsises?
Yes. Let's start with Black Christmas, 1974.
Black Christmas, starring Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, Margot Kidder, and starring John Saxon as Lieutenant Fuller. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight.
Directed by Bob Clark, who, directed probably what most consider one of the greatest Christmas movies, the other greatest Christmas movie.
This is
not Black Christmas, even though to me, I'd say some would consider this one of his best films as well. And it just so happens to be Christmas. But A Christmas Story, which I believe he made a few years after this, almost like 10 years, right? It was mid-'80s, I think is when...
something like that, yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it is kind of crazy. I even recently said it on our previous Holiday Horror Moments episode I just did with Whiskey Morgue. I said how it's kind of crazy how this guy was able to make a violent, bleak, depressing horror film set on Christmas, and then this, coming of age story that's all happy and funny, and it's a comedy and stuff like that. But yes, Bob Clark, great horror director. Gone too soon, right? What else?
Dead of
Children
Night.
shouldn't. Children shouldn't play with dead things. Mm-hmm. There's another one I'm missing on that list. He only directed like 5 or 6 movies, and they're all Porky's.
Murder by Decree.
Isn't Porky's him as well?
Porky's too. Yeah.
Porky's. Yeah. So, Murder by Decree. I've never
Sherlock
seen
Holmes
that one.
movie. It's a Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
I've got to give that one a watch. That's, I guess, in his filmography. I missed
with,
that one.
Christopher Plummer, I think.
Really? Have you seen it?
Years ago.
Yeah, I haven't.
Years ago. Like
I've
when I
never
was
seen it.
when I was a kid. I mean, I watched Sherlock Holmes was on TV. It was a thing back then. When we were kids, we all read the books in school. But, Sherlock Holmes movies. If there was one, it was on TV. And surprisingly, I feel like I remember them playing around Christmas too.
Really?
Like,
Yeah, it's funny. I was never into Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why.
I never really was. But like Hound of the Baskervilles and stuff like that. I know those, and that's probably the reason why I watched the others and then was just kind of bored by them.
Yeah, I don't know. Even the new ones with like Robert Downey Jr. that came out, I had zero interest in watching
silly.
those.
They
silly. They look kind of dumb. But yes, moving on. Black Christmas, 1974, directed by Bob Clark. Solid cast, couple names, Olivia Hussey. The stud, John Saxon.
Margot Kidder,
Lois Lane. Before Lois Lane.
Yep.
Right before. Solid film. Great atmosphere. Quick plot. Manny, you could help me here. In a nutshell, you've got the sorority. They're receiving obscene phone calls. Olivia Hussey's character is kind of going through a breakup because she's got this abusive boyfriend that doesn't agree with her wanting to have an abortion. She's pregnant, and she wants to move on with her life, and he does not want her to do anything. He wants her to be a mom. That's basically it. They're getting these obscene phone calls, and there is a guy who is
picking them off one at a time.
Yes, there's not a lot of kills in the original film. It's only a couple sprinkled throughout. It's probably like a proto slasher, right? Because it's not really a slasher film in the classic sense of what you're thinking of, like, something like The Prowler, where there's like 8 people, or The Mutilator, where people are just being killed left and right. This is more like kind of like Halloween, where there's only a small handful of characters that are killed, and it's not a very violent film. But yes, basically, spoiler warning, even though you probably know this, the killer is in the house. His name is Billy, and there's a big kind of whodunit type deal where, is it the boyfriend? Is it this unseen force that's just in the house? I tend to always say it's the unseen force by the way the film ends, and that's something we'll get into a little bit later. The ending of all of the films, each one of them. But yeah, that's Black Christmas in a nutshell. It's a very simple plot. It's contained. There's a couple other little small things about it. Very bleak. There's a little girl that's murdered in the movie. It's all off screen, and it's implied that it's the same killer. You're never given any answers. Everything's pretty ambiguous of who and what is doing the killing in the movie. Safe to say that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's what people say. There's always been this debate. Black Christmas, Halloween, which movie started the slasher genre?
I don't think there's a debate. I think Black Christmas did it. It's
Yeah.
years before Halloween.
Yeah, and also
You know?
Black Christmas has there's a lot in Black Christmas that I guess Halloween owes a lot to Black Christmas, like, you know, the Steadicam shot that it opens up, literally POV shot.
And the fact that it's a holiday
Yeah.
film, you know, like that's what they were doing with Halloween. They were trying to do like a holiday horror film, a holiday slasher, and honest, Black Christmas did it.
Yeah,
So-
it did it first. It did it first. I don't know if it did it better. That's a conversation for another day, because I feel like we could debate that for hours.
We could.
I will say that the original film, I think one of the strongest things when it comes to just the whole Christmas aspect, it seems it's weird. And it's got a Christmas atmosphere. It feels cold. There's snow everywhere. There's carolers. There's a Christmas tree and wreath, and almost every shot lights. But it's almost like sad, somber Christmas. Very dark.
Yeah.
It's not what you would think when you watch something like a Christmas Story. That's, even though Christmas Story even has kind of a little bit of that.
Oh,
kinda
Christmas Story is quite dark.
Quite dark.
That
You're
is
right. So
one
that's not
messed
same
up.
same director. So that's probably not a good comparison.
Yeah.
But what's another big Christmas movie? Christmas Vacation. Even though that has some dark moments too. So I just think anything before 1990 was dark.
My favorite Christmas movies in general are all very dark. The Ref, I love.
The Ref is a very dark film as well.
The
That's a good one.
You ever seen Mixed Nuts with Steve
Yes,
Martin and
Steve Martin,
like,
great one.
It's about a bunch of people who work at a suicide helpline.
Yeah, you're right.
You
And
know?
even when you think of Thanksgiving movies like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that ends super depressing
You know?
as well. So
Trapped in Paradise with Nicolas Cage and John
That's a good
Lovett,
one.
where
Wow,
they're,
it's been
they're
a
a
while
bunch of
since I've watched that
criminals.
one.
Yeah, these are my favorite Christmas movies, like that
Yeah.
are not horror, and
Yeah.
they're all still pretty bleak.
they
pretty
are
dark.
They are pretty bleak. Even something as big as when you think about something as popular as Home Alone, pretty morbid when
Yeah.
you really think about it. So.
Violent Night.
I'm fucking up here. I guess most Christmas movies are bleak and dark.
It's a
up until
Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It's a
Scrooge.
guy who wants to kill himself.
Yeah. Even Scrooge
Scrooged.
with Bill Murray. Fantastic Christmas movie. Insanely bleak.
Dark as
So,
hell.
Dark as fuck. Yeah. I guess
just-
no go then, I guess. So yeah.
I think that's kind of the whole point, where like Christmas is supposed to be about, you know, being. Thanksgiving is being thankful, but I mean being thankful for your family,
Yeah.
being, you know, everything that you have. So I guess they kind of have to bring you down real deep in order for somebody to realize what they truly have, that they are happy and grateful for.
Yeah, you're right. Christmas
You know?
Carol, the most notorious Christmas story, is depressing as hell. So
Yeah.
just goes with the territory. But yeah, Black Christmas, I just always felt it was a very dark film.
It is,
Just
100%.
everything about it is dark. There's shadows, which is kind of the point. And a lot of, that infamous scene with the eyeball looking, everyone knows that shot. So, and it's this kind, and you never see the killer. He's in complete shadow. All you see is an eyeball.
Yeah.
So, dark movie and just a classic film. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's a horror fan, slasher fan, whatever, that hates the original movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it exists. I could see maybe some people thinking it's boring, maybe some younger people, but even still, it to me,
It's iconic.
it's iconic, and also when it's not a hard. There's comedy. There's some comedy in there. There's some violence. There's some atmosphere. There's some decent performances. I won't say they're all great, and we'll talk about that later. But again, up there with Halloween, Black Christmas. Again, that's a conversation for another day. I feel like both films sort of represent holiday slasher films and slasher films in general, and they're kind of the masters of that. And I'd put Texas Chainsaw up there as well. So because you have to, So moving on to the next Black Christmas, the 2006 version, first remake. which was a huge bomb. I remember when it came out. They released it on Christmas Day that year, and no one went to see it. It made no money. It was written and directed by Glenn Morgan, who he's like one of those early 2000s directors, which is interesting because this was like written and directed by him. So this was like a passion project. Also,
well, sort of.
Weinsteins were involved too in this project, and he had
just done the Willard remake.
Yes, you're right.
And it kind of bombed. Yeah. And he, from what I understand, he was afraid that after that bomb, he did another movie in the middle too, which also didn't do well. And he was afraid he was never going to work again. So he did the Willard remake, which I think was an excellent film. I love Willard. I don't know why people don't like it, but I thought it was great.
People don't like that movie?
There's a lot of people who thought it was terrible.
Well, get out of here.
That didn't do very well either.
It's a great movie.
I know.
It's better than the original. The original's kind of dull.
And I like the originals.
I do too.
I think it combined both movies very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he was afraid he wasn't going to work. And when the Weinsteins offered him this, he jumped on it and then this bombed.
Yeah. Poor guy. Couldn't catch a break. It's horrible. The one thing, and real quick, the one thing, you mentioned the Weinsteins, I just mentioned the Weinsteins. The one thing about this movie that I think most people know about the production is they were heavily involved in like the edit. They were involved in the ending of the movie was completely reshot from the original vision that Glenn Morgan had. You know what else they did, which I thought was kind of insane? They went back for pickup shots of random shit just for the trailers. Did you know that? If you watch
I didn't know that, but I know that that was fairly common back then. There was always stuff in trailers that was not in the final film, like the cow coming through the window in a car windshield in Twister.
Yeah, in Twister. Yeah,
but that was something they did a lot back then.
These are some outrageous inserts.
Really? So I don't remember the trailer.
I recommend people that are familiar with the movie go on YouTube, look up the Black Christmas 06 trailers.
I'm just gonna let it play on IMDb on mute while you talk. And
there's literally a shot of a woman underneath ice, frozen. There's this like weird lawnmower with Christmas lights on it chasing a woman. There's a shot of one of the girls holding a shotgun, pointing it at the camera, saying, "Merry Christmas, motherfucker." Weird. It's like it's so odd because when you watch the movie, none of this happens, and it's like, what is this robot, like lawnmower Christmas decoration attacking this? Like it's absurd. There's a shot of Billy, and we haven't even gotten to the plot yet, on the wall. And one of the girls is in front of him, and she doesn't notice him. Weird additions, I guess, to just kind of market the film and get people to the theaters. Didn't work.
I'm not seeing much of that in this. Maybe this is a newer trailer that's more accurate, than the one that's on IMDb. It looks, everything in this so far is stuff that's in the movie, but it's still playing. So.
A good chunk of the trailer is in. Obviously, they have to use most of it, but they did insert random shit that doesn't happen and makes no sense. It's just they wanted the movie to feel more intense.
I've never.
Very, very strange. But yeah, it stars Katie Cassidy, Michelle Trachtenberg, Harriet the Spy. That's what I'll always remember her from. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which she went on to do
everything.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Big deal. Lacey, I believe it's Chabert from Party of Five. Wild Thornberries. She's the voice of the girl. Mean Girls. She's been in a bunch. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Trailer. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. This is an updated trailer. It says Christmas Day, but this is a different. Yeah, everything I see here was in the movie.
I recommend.
So this is a different trailer.
I recommend.
Oh, I'm gonna.
The shots are so like the Trick or Treat motherfucker is hilarious. Not Trick or Treat. That's Busta Rhymes.
Yeah,
my bad. Merry Christmas motherfucker.
Merry Christmas
is random. It's and with the shotgun, it's ridiculous. I'm guessing they probably took that from trick or treat, motherfucker, from Halloween
Possible.
Resurrection. They were like, you know what? We gotta spice this up a bit.
Yeah, that had just happened too. That was like 2002, right?
Yeah,
No,
so it was only 2002,
was
I
it?
think. Yeah, 2002 is when that came out. So a few years shy. So maybe they were like, you know what? Different holiday. We need a character. It's not a rapper, but we need a character just talking to the screen, talking to the audience, saying the holiday, motherfucker. That'll sell tickets. Didn't sell shit.
You missed Andrea Martin, who's in the
you're
original as well.
You're right. Who does she play in this?
In this one, she's the sorority mother.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I forget that she is one of the few actors from the original to pop up in this movie.
I think there's one other. I think one of the guys just like he was just in the original and he's in this. Like he was one of the cops, I think. Like nothing special. But yeah, that was a full throwback to that she was one of the original sorority sisters. She dies, of course. I think I think she plays Phil in the original. Who does she play? Let me look it up. Yeah, she's Phil. She's the one who's killed. She's killed totally off screen, and we just see her body.
She's the one with the glasses and the curly hair, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a good character. She's a great character.
Yeah. They were all great.
They're all great.
And so she's playing a completely different character in this, but you know, she's the sorority mother. Like that's so cool. I can't
believe that went
back.
right over my head. I did not realize that.
You missed naming her when you did the first one. I was like, he's gonna miss it. That's all right. Cool.
I'm glad you got it because I completely missed that. I didn't even realize that was her.
I think they did the same thing in the Sorority Row remake. That one of the women who's in the original
that in years.
Yeah, so in the original House on Sorority Row, she's in the Sorority Row remake as well. They did that a couple of times.
I'm a sucker for those early mid 2000s slasher movies. Yeah, I did too. Sorority Row is great. I saw that in the theater with one of our buddies, Tito. So I remember going to the theater to see that. A lot of pretty women being killed by a tire iron in that movie.
Much like this movie. Yes. A lot of pretty women getting killed.
Yes, lots of pretty women being hey, it's a slasher movie. So what can you do?
So this one, I'll do the plot real quick. It's very similar to the first. The difference in this one, though, is it's more focused on Billy. As you said, in the first movie, you don't know who Billy is. No. He's just there's just a guy who's in the house. You never even see him. Yeah. You never even see his face. You only see his eye. This one, we get more into the story of Billy, and people thought that this was really stupid. This is why it kind of bombed. They were like, oh, they didn't like all the story. But the fact is, this story of Billy is the story that Bob Clark wrote for Billy for the original film. Him with the sister and the mother and him possibly killing his parents, and he killed his, and all of that. This is actually the original story. So this is more of an expansion within the remake than anything else. So he wanted this in the original film, but he just thought it was going to be too much. It would have been too long. But that more or less the story of Billy. The story of Billy is a boy who the mother didn't want a child, and I think I don't know if he was deformed or if he was.
He has a liver disease that makes him yellow.
Green.
He's yellow. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, the mother hides him in the attic, and that's where he lives. The mother has a guy that she's with. I think that's his stepfather.
Yeah, they kill his father.
Yes,
and then he has like a stepfather boyfriend, his mother's boyfriend type deal.
And mom just fucks him whenever she wants. Lots of
incest in this movie.
Yes. And one day she gets tired of fucking the stepfather, and she goes upstairs and she fucks her 12-year-old son, Billy, and she gets pregnant, and she has the little girl Agnes. And when the little girl is born, she looks up at the attic and she says to Billy, "She's my family now." Completely disowning Billy. Years later, and now this is 2006, so I think in the story it's 1991 or 92 or so. I think Agnes is 6 or 7 years old, and Billy comes down. He kidnaps Agnes. He stabs her eye out.
Yeah, and eats it, I think.
Yes, he stabs her eye out. He kidnaps Agnes and says, "She's my family now," he says to the mother. And he stabs her eye out with a glass unicorn, which is the way that, who was killed in the first movie?
Margot
with the glass
Kidder.
Margot Kidder's
Yeah,
killed
Margot
in the
Kidder's,
first movie with the glass unicorn. And eats her eye and then kills the mother and turns her skin into Christmas cookies. Billy is then sent to a mental hospital, and now we are in 2006 with the sorority girls who are living in Billy Lenz's old house, and Billy escapes, and now he's coming home, and there's someone killing them.
Basically, the girls are in the wrong place, wrong time. That's literally that's literally what it is in the 2006. They're just in the house, and Billy decides to go there. And then the sister is already there, and then Billy's going there.
Well,
so,
that's the end. In the end, you find out that the sister has been was the one who was making the calls first, because Billy hadn't gotten there yet. So who called? There's a couple of red herrings and everything, but so there's the sister's there, emptying the house so that it's ready for when Billy comes home.
Yeah. The red herring in this movie is pretty bad, because there's you see the killers pretty like about 25 minutes into the movie. So it's interesting how they tried maybe with that one guy. There's like a weird sex tape revenge deal in the movie too.
Well, that's one. No, I'm talking about the girl.
The nerdy girl that pops up in the beginning.
Yeah, they make you think that she might be Agnes grown up.
Yeah, but
that's the red herring.
She gets dispatched quite quickly.
She does.
She doesn't make much of an impact. That's what I'm saying. Like the first half hour of the movie.
Yeah.
And then she just vanishes and she's dead. And we'll talk about the gore later too. But yeah, this one is a very 2006 slasher movie. I feel like I feel like time has been kind to this one. I think when it initially came out, people hated it. And then I feel like in the last 10 or so years, it had a resurgence. And now everyone seems to think it's a fun. And it is a fun, silly, over the top. It is over the fucking top slasher film. That's basically what it is. It's gory, the incest shit, the yellow guy. It's like just they have a male actor pretending to. Basically, a male is playing Agnes. He's a guy with a wig. It's 2006, so it's different times. So, plus the Weinsteins were the ones that were behind this. So God knows what was going on with all these poor actresses in this film. But I like the movie.
I love it.
I've been a fan of it ever since I remember I didn't see it in the theaters. I think this might have been one of the last movies I rented from Blockbuster. I think this might have been one of the last movies I was able to physically rent at Blockbuster when it came out. There you go. You're holding the same one. Your DVD. There you go. I'm pretty sure this was one of the last films I rented, if memory serves me correct. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a fan. I know you like it. I think at this point now, most horror fans enjoy Black Christmas 06. Now, moving on to something people have not enjoyed. Something that people, I don't think, are on agreement on at all is the 2019 Black Christmas.
I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of running. Go, 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 go! Ho, 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 bitch. You messed with the wrong sisters.
Blumhouse was involved in producing this. Some people love Blumhouse. Some people hate Blumhouse. They think they've kind of fucked horror up. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think they released some decent stuff and a lot of crap as well.
New Line and Canon, and they all did the same thing. They had plenty of good ones and plenty of garbage films.
And that's why I don't get caught up in all that nonsense. I think Blumhouse has definitely had a good track record.
I think he's doing more good for horror than bad.
I'd agree.
By far.
I'd agree.
It
was directed by Sophia, I believe it's Takal.
to
who
come.
comes from the whole mumblecore scene.
Yeah.
She's a part of that whole, like, she's one of those actors that popped up in a lot of, like, Joe Swanberg movies and all that other stuff. I didn't realize she was a director.
Which is why it's so weird that she was, picked for this. But
I'm not too familiar. I know she was, like I said, I know she's acted in some of, like, the Joe Swanberg stuff. But I didn't know she was a director. This isn't her first movie, I don't think, as a director. Or
no,
maybe,
it wasn't.
Yeah, so I had no idea. But it made sense to sort of have a female director finally direct a Black Christmas film, considering that for all of these movies, for the most part, a lot of the leads are female, and I'd say the original Black Christmas is more feminist than the 2006 one. I don't feel like there's as much kind of feminist undertones in the 2006 one. And again, because of who's the producers of those films, I don't expect that in that movie, in my opinion. Maybe you don't agree with me. So I do find it interesting that they got a female director. And even when you kind of read into this movie, and I did a little research Googling, she co-wrote this with another, I think it's another female writer. And she went out of her way to make it as feminist as possible.
Yep.
Which, if we're being real, is gonna rub certain people the wrong way. Some people,
that's their fucking problem.
Some people don't want that. Some people don't like that. It is what it is. You can have your opinions. Just because you're adding subtext doesn't mean you're gonna make a good movie. That's my opinion. You can add all the subtext in the world about feminism, whatever. I'm all for it, but you still got to make a good movie. You know what I mean? My opinion. And even kind of the cast is, for the most part, except for one big actor, which I'm going to name two names right now that are kind of starring that are the stars of this movie. And they marketed it around him. He was in the trailers, I remember. Cary Elwes is in this. Good old Cary. I love Cary Elwes. That's my boy. I love everything he's in. I can't think of a bad movie. He's just a very likable guy in everything he's in.
Well, it depends. Do you like this movie? Because that would be the bad one, right?
I thought he was good in this. So, he was okay. He's not in much of the movie. It's a small role, but when he's there, he's Cary Elwes.
He's a serious role. He's got a big role in the film, but it's short but major.
It's major. And then also, and I'm going to butcher this girl's name. So I apologize.
Poots.
Yes, Imogen Poots.
Poots.
Who I loved in Green Room. I'm a big fan of that movie. I thought Green Room was awesome, and she's in that. So when I saw she was in this,
I was actually disappointed by Green Room.
What?
I thought it was a good movie.
Okay.
But I was disappointed because everything I'd heard, I was expecting a different movie.
Yeah, I don't know what you heard.
I heard it was nowhere near as graphic or violent or fucked up as I thought it was. It was a bunch of people hiding in a room for most of the movie. Like it's
called
very
Green Room.
tense.
They're in the green room.
Yeah, but I thought it was. I expected a lot more. I expected something like Eden Lake.
Yeah, no.
Out of it, and it was just like it's a bunch of kids just basically hiding in a room for a good like half of the movie,
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of nothing happens for a long time. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
But I said it was disappointed. I didn't say I didn't like it though.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed.
I'm a big fan of it. I think it's my favorite movie from what I forget his name, the director of that. He directed also that
Murder
Halloween
Party.
movie. Yeah, Murder Party, which is really good too.
I love Murder Party.
Yeah, Murder Party's awesome. And Blue, there's another one. Blue. It's gonna slip my mind, but nonetheless.
Oh, Into the Blue or something like that.
Something
the
with
love
Blue.
story.
Yeah. That's a great movie too that he directed
I don't think I've
as
seen
well.
that one.
But yeah, she's. I liked her in Green Room. I saw that she was in this. I was like, oh, I recognize that actress.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be solid. Manny, do you want to describe the plot of this one as well? Just kind of what happens in the 2019 Black Christmas.
Okay, so our lead girl, Imogen, was sexually assaulted about a year ago by one of the guys in one of the frat houses, and she's been dealing with that and being in school and being around this guy for a year now, and all of the baggage that comes with that. They decide to do, it's a very Mean Girls type scene where there's a talent show, a Christmas talent show, and her and the four of her friends all decide they're going to do a song. It's
like a Christmas song.
Yeah, they're going to do a Christmas song, a little dance, and one of the girls doesn't show up. We know she's dead. We know she's already been killed, but they don't know this. And they had written the performance as to make her feel better. So they convince her to do it with her because she rehearsed it with them. She wrote it with them. So she's the only other person who could do the fourth. And it ends up being the song called, they do Up in the Frat House, jing, jing, where it's a song about him raping her, drugging her and raping her, And as a result, the frat boys are they're now humiliated, and the girls the next day start getting threatening text messages. And then eventually they're in the house. I say they're getting picked off, but they're really not getting picked off, which is one of the differences in this movie now. People are not picked off in the same way. The girls are in the house, and suddenly a guy shows up, or someone shows up in a black robe with a black mask on and an arrow, a bow and arrow, trying to kill them, and they fight him off. Soon as they fight him off, another one walks in behind them. And then we see that in one of the other frat houses, their other friends are being attacked by another group of masked, cloaked men. And the movie now follows them fighting off, trying to survive this group of killers. And then it goes into, the fact that it's, I'm assuming we're spoiling again. Yes.
Yeah, we're spoiling
this. It ends up that the frat house themselves are descendants or something. They're the tradition of manly men putting women in their place, and they're kind of possessed by this evil spirit or something. They have a bust. They have a bust of, I can't remember his name. The guys, I can't remember, but Hawthorne.
Yes.
It's Hawthorne College. They have a bust of Hawthorne, the founder of the college. It's the founder's bust, and it turns out that it's filled with this black goo that possesses the guys, and and it makes them evil so that they can make the women subservient to them again, and the women fight back for the night. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what the movie is.
Yeah, and a lot of people hated it. Yes. A lot of people hated this movie. I don't think I've met a single person that's like, Black Christmas 2009, except for you, 2019, loved it. I don't think that exists.
I know a few people who like it a lot.
Really?
Yes.
I have not spoke to no one, either people hated it or have not seen it.
Yeah, they just avoided it.
Yeah, completely. And I'll be honest, I watched it when it came out. I think when it first was on demand. I didn't see it in theaters because I'll be honest, I had no interest. It didn't look that interesting. So I was not going to go buy a ticket and go see it in the theaters. I think when it either was streaming somewhere or you could rent it on digital, I think I might have rented it. And then forgot about it. I didn't, because I think it was during the pandemic was when everyone was watching it at home at that point. And I forgot about it. Rewatched it for this episode, and while I think it does some interesting stuff, I will admit I think for the most part the first 40 minutes are kind of boring, just not my cup of tea. I want it to speed up, kind of a little quicker. I think it has some decent ideas, but to get to those ideas, it definitely takes its time, I would say. And don't get me wrong, I do like slow burn films, and I like films that take their time to get to the point, but I feel like Black Christmas 2019, and funny enough, the original Black Christmas is very slow too, but for some reason, watching this one, I was just like, okay, what's happening? Yeah. Let's move it. My opinion. That was my biggest beef with it. I thought it was well directed. I thought it looked good, had a nice look. The actors were decent, and we're going to get down to a little more details. and sections of this actual battle royal. But I wouldn't say it was my favorite film of 2019. It wasn't on the list of movies that came out that year. And I guess, man, if people like it, and it wasn't, none of the feminist stuff bothered me. That wasn't really the issue. I got bored, man. I got bored. I got bored watching it a few days ago too. I watched all three of these back to back, literally back to back in order. And I was like, this one feels the longest, and it's not. I think the original is a little longer than it, or the second remake might be a few minutes longer than it. I don't know, man. It's just something in that the pacing is a little off. You know? My opinion.
Can have your opinion.
No one come after me with the pitchforks.
I don't think people are going to come after you for this one. This is the thing. This is one of those fairly shared opinions. Most people hate it for one reason or another. I don't think it's boring. I understand where people say, why is it called Black Christmas? I get what they're saying, but I also feel that they're not getting the movie itself either, you know, because they hated it. So they have no reason to like look into it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great when the first time I saw it. I got to be honest, that the up in the frat house scene, like, gave me chills. I thought it was amazing. I thought the song, like, I fucking love feministy movies like this. I love it. I absolutely love any movie where like women are fighting back against oppressive men. I love it. I love this. The Slumber Party Massacre remake, I loved that too.
That was great. That was a lot of fun.
I thought it was excellent. Yeah. You know, I dig that sort of thing.
That was a better movie, in my opinion. The Slumber Party Massacre remake, I enjoyed more. So, my opinion. I'm
not arguing. It's just, okay. I mean, I like that. They're on equal footing to me.
See, but that was to me, and I know I don't want to stay on this too long.
That was sillier too.
Yes, and I
that
think
one went much campier.
It was. I feel like it was an easier watch. I had more fun with it. This was a little bit more of a slog. Just to watch. You know, it's again.
Besides the feministy stuff, which, like you said, I know it doesn't bother you because you know.
I know some people don't like that kind of in your face. They don't like
which
that stuff,
you know what? Fuck them. That's fuck you. Fuck you. That's you don't like it in your face. Well, I'm sorry. Then you don't pay attention to horror films. You know?
No, yeah, of course. A lot of horror movies have had feminist subtext dating back to like the 70s, 60s.
You know,
so.
But you know what? I think that's where people are kind of missing some of it, is that it's not subtext in this. It is the plot.
It's the plot, yeah. No, well, like I said, she wrote the script to make it as feminist as possible. Yes.
So. The subtext of the film is toxic masculinity. The subtext of the film is women have to work together in order to move forward in the world because that's the subtext. The actual plot is feminism.
And you know what's the craziest thing about it, too, and not to be too preachy here, the fact that the 2006 remake was produced by the Weinsteins, and then this is the one that comes out like the 2019. It's kind of it's eerie when you think about it. It is very eerie that movie was produced by them. We all know what happened with that guy, you know, and that was shitty. Yeah. And then the fact that this was almost purposely made after that one in the way it was, kind of crazy. Goes to show you how the world changes between 2006, 2019. Kind of wild. And we've even said it, you know, off air, that all the Black Christmas movies, the original one, and you know, we're not going to stay on this too long because we are going to go down to the battle part. All of the films, I would say, even the original, and I would say I'll say it now, I think the original did the feminist aspects of it better with her being forced,
because it was subtext then.
Yes,
it was a subplot of the film.
Yes, and like the whole thing with her getting an abortion and her not taking any shit from the guy and being like, "Hey, I want to continue my life," and him being an asshole to her, literally. Yeah, he calls her a bitch at one point and all this other stuff, and then well,
you think about it. Go back then though. Think about what 1974 was. How many men
Yeah, it was
probably
different.
watched that movie and agreed with the boyfriend. Took
was-
his
yeah,
side, thought that
different
she
time.
was being an uppity woman.
Different time.
You know?
I can't imagine
That's-
that. The audience has been wild
Exactly.
back then.
And I think that's what a lot of people are missing is the
Yeah.
fact that back then, a lot of men took his fucking side then.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's like, it was just as upsetting to people then as it is now, but it's been so long where what he said then, of course he's wrong because the world has changed.
The world has
and
changed,
I think that this movie, while it is a little heavy at times, I don't think it's too heavy. Specifically, she did it on purpose. It is a little heavy at times. I think, just like the original, 20, 30 years from now, it won't seem heavy. It'll seem obvious
Yeah.
what they're saying. You know, the original Texas Chainsaw versus the new Texas Chainsaw, which I also loved. People, you know, they hated the little hipsters and, oh, they're so stupid. I said, how many people do you think watched the original Texas Chainsaw and hated the hippies who sat in there
Yeah.
talking about veganism and meat is murder and that preachy? How many people called that
Dude,
preachy back then?
Horror fans
You know?
are fickle, man. That and all
It's not that
all
they
all
forget-
horror
people forget. They're too
when
young
a
to
movie
remember
comes
it.
out, it sucks.
Yes.
And then in
Yeah.
15 years, when people have a new set of eyes on it, oh, it wasn't. I just said it about
Yeah.
the '06 remake. When it came out, no one went to see
No.
it. It bombed. People ignored it.
And
now
now it's a classic.
Now it's a cult classic.
You know what was
so-
great at the time too? The Toolbox Murders remake
Yes.
came out at same. Also, I put that and the Black Christmas. They are both so similar
They're
in
fun
style.
movies, yeah.
And Malignant just did that style of film.
That was another movie. You either
100%.
loved
I
it,
think it's
hated
just like
it.
this. Yep.
And I'm in the camp that really loved it. I know a lot of people did it.
Absolutely loved
In
it.
15 years,
They're
more
gonna-
people
yep.
are gonna love it.
Totally.
Listen, man, it's just the way. That's just the way. I always, like I said, horror fans are fickle. That's just the way it is.
We have short memories.
Yes, things don't get good until they're old. That's nostalgia.
You know what though? That's what I love about horror. It's transgressive. It's
Yes.
progressive. It's ahead of every
Yeah.
horror
And-
is telling you what you don't want to hear right now.
Yes, and even with the 2019
Mm-hmm.
Black Christmas, only seen it twice,
Mm-hmm.
and I would put it on again maybe in the future, give
Mm-hmm.
it another watch. Maybe I missed something,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in this, maybe time will be kind to it, So it's tough.
I bet you missed all the references in it.
Probably. I do know one thing: the glass unicorn is in all three of them.
Yes, it is.
I know that. I know that's one big one.
Glass
It's in all
unicorns
three
in
of them.
there. The plastic bag is in all
It's
three
in
of
all
them.
three of them. Yeah, you're
In
right.
fact, in this one, they even you see the plastic bag beforehand with the red dress hanging up.
Yeah.
And in the original movie, she's wearing a blue dress, but on the cover of the movie, it's a red dress.
Yes. You're
In
right.
the poster, it's a red dress.
I
But in the
never even
movie,
thought of
she's
that.
actually
Wow.
wearing blue.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't,
So
I didn't
she
even
put
catch
it-
that.
Yep. So she put it in a red dress in that, and the purpose of that was that she wanted the girls to use the tools from the original movie that he killed the girls with, and they kill the guys with it now. So she flipped that. There's also a tribute to Exorcist 3 in there. There's a tribute
yeah.
to The Shining.
That one was clear as day.
Yeah,
I was
yes.
like, "Oh, that's Exorcist 3." I saw the I saw the framing, and I was like, "I forgot."
There,
I
and she, the
I
fucking-
completely
Perfect.
forgot that there's an Exorcist 3 reference in the movie. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
and
it's
after
crazy
the
that Exorcist 3 is being referenced in more contemporary films. Kind of wild.
And after the first girl is attacked and they hide in the closet, she breaks a broomstick in half and goes back out there. And that whole thing is Shelley Duvall in The Shining. They actually cut some of it because they said the scene is more important, and they were like, it's too obvious what we're doing. We have to trim it down so people watch the scene instead of, oh, look at what they're doing. They felt it was going to take away from the scene itself. But
Interesting. I have to catch. I guess I'll have to rewatch.
she goes
it one
down
day.
the stairs she's got the broomstick in her hand, and she's holding it just like Shelley Duvall, and you can actually see where the cut, when you know what you're looking for, you can see where it is. Where they cut out a couple things, like they had her swing at him a couple of times originally,
okay.
and they cut it because they're like, it's too obvious.
That's cool. I had no
Yeah.
idea there were that many references. I picked
There's
up on a couple here and there, but not that many. So interesting.
And then the biggest thing is the masks. The masks themselves I forget what they were called, but basically they're silent women masks. It's based on an old thing back in the 1700s or so that men would put on their wives to shut them up if they were too talkative.
Oh,
it was a literal iron thing that they would put over their wives' mouths.
That's wild. I
to
never even
shut
heard
them
of that.
up. Yeah, there's
Crazy.
oh man, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Oh, I think I wrote it down, but is it here? Is it here? Like, where's my notes? No, I actually didn't put it in my notes. How did I not do that? Anyway, yeah, the mask itself. If you look up the name of it, they say it in the. I think they say it at some point. If you look up, there's a lot of different designs,
Yeah.
so they kind of created it based on those designs. So that's literally the purpose of it, that they're trying to silence the women and shut them up, and they're wearing these masks that were originally used to shut up wives,
That's
to
crazy.
quiet your wife.
Interesting. I had
Yeah.
no idea that
Yeah.
was what those masks were. Like I said, I feel like some people, maybe if you haven't seen the movie, give it a shot, give it a watch. Especially if you've seen the other two Black Christmas movies, give it a shot.
I think it's for things like that.
It's not my favorite of the bunch. I wouldn't say I was blown away by it or anything. Again, I already said what I said. But yeah, I think all three of them have something to offer. They're all very different.
Yep.
I even said that the plots for each film are drastically,
Drastic,
not drastically, but there's a lot
This
of
one's
elements.
drastically different.
This one's and even
third one's drastically
even the
different.
first remake, outside of like Billy, the sorority, they add, and you gave me the backstory with an expansion of Billy. Tonally, it is very different.
Completely.
So
Not even close, yeah.
it is interesting how you look at a movie that's been remade twice. And it just goes so far out there from what the original movie was. And that's kind of crazy.
But evil still lives
Please lock up the house. Stay together.
within these walls.
Merry Christmas, Mother.
All right, so here's where we're gonna break down, and I'm curious. We have a couple of areas here we're gonna talk about not for each film, but what we would choose, and see which ones we agree on and which ones we don't. Aspects of each movie. So we'll start with probably one of the most important aspects of a movie in general, the direction of the film, and just the overall production, the way the movie looks, visually, the aesthetic, all that stuff. Which one, in your opinion, I'll start with you, Manny, out of the three Black Christmas movies, has kind of the best direction, production, overall tone, movie-wise, that you prefer?
I think the tone. I told you before we started this is going to be really hard for me to separate
Yeah,
all
I know
these,
it
for
is.
me to really rank them.
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I really love them all for different reasons.
Gotta pick one.
Yeah, I think visually and visually, I like the 2006 the best. I love the colors. I love the shots. I love that grimy look of how everything is just really dirty and kind of filthy. All the Billy scenes are nasty, and then the girls are very, I wouldn't say clean, but they're it's very of the time. A lot of films look that way. It looked like
There's
like your
razors
standard,
in it. Remember the razor?
Yeah. Oh.
there's a bunch of those in the movie. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, forgot about that.
I think that the scenes of the girls were shot like a standard slasher, and then the scenes of Billy were shot so like stylistically to show just like this contrast between these two worlds that are about to collide.
It also has the most, I feel, when it comes to like the production, the actual like set design, it's the most Christmassy.
Yes.
It looks like
Oh,
Christmas
man.
vomited all over the movie.
It
Like
does.
literally, like Santa was like all over, like literally. And don't get me wrong, they all have Christmas decorations.
Santa vomited and Rudolph exploded in the room. Like,
Exactly.
his guts are everywhere.
Like there's scenes where they're walking down hallways and you just see like lights strung up against every corner of the wall.
Yeah.
The Christmas tree, the Christmas tree
Very,
is obnoxious.
very like eyes wide shut.
Yes, which
Very
is a
eyes wide shut.
fantastic Christmas movie, and people forget about that. So in my notes here, I'm going with the original.
Okay.
Because I like. So there's certain moments in the movie that I think the holiday and just kind of the whole way it was kind of put together, the set design too, again, goes back to it being such a dark movie where you don't know what lurks in certain corners. And it feels that way when you watch the movie. It feels like the girls are always being watched. Whereas in the remake and the first remake, 06, you know who's coming after them. And that's what I like about the original 74 film is just how creepy and eerie it is that you don't know where this dude is. He's there somewhere. He's obviously in the attic because we keep cutting back to the girl with the bag over her head.
But he is leaving the attic at some point.
Exactly.
And you don't know when or how.
And we get those great shots of dude, there's scenes in the movie where the girls are on the phone talking to John Saxon and you just see a shadow behind them. And then it vanishes in the next shot.
Yeah.
And I think it's ahead of its time. So just because of that, just because of the way they were able to do that, like Bob Clark, I'm sure he's the director.
He's a great director.
He's a great director, and he had a hand in all of that, I'm sure, with the shadows, the constant feeling of them being watched, every corner. You know, I don't want to get into the ending yet, but the way it ends, like there's just a certain eeriness that I feel 06 and 2019 don't have. There's no eeriness. I don't think either film. When I'm watching a horror movie,
they're not.
My taste, I want it to be spooky and eerie.
They are three different types of slasher film. Each film is a different type of slasher. And that one is, they are very different. So.
But I totally can see why you went with the second one, because I think it feels the most like a slasher film at the end. Like that's the one that feels like if you took out the cell phones and changed their hairstyle, made them wear clothes from the 80s and set it in 1983, it'd be the same movie and it would work. You know, just it'd be different decorations, different set design, but it's so simple in the execution. But again, my pick would just be that, just because of how just eerie the whole movie is, the vibe it has. Don't get me wrong, it does leave that from time to time, especially in the precinct. In the original film when it goes to the precinct with the cops, but for the most part, it just always feels like there's somebody there. And that's what I love, and that's why I'm going with the original 74 film. All right, next, cast. Which one has your favorite cast? If you had to go, with one of the movies. The good thing is if we pick opposite ones, we could piggyback off of the other ones. So,
you know,
which cast do you enjoy the most? I think I know where you're going to go.
I'm still kind of leaning on 2006.
Wow. I'm shocked. I thought you were going to say 2019.
Leaning. It's a leaning. It's not like I'm there, but I'm like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Lacey Chabert, Olivia Hussey, and Margot Kidder. I mean...
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, it's
honestly,
specifically.
I thought you were going to go with 2019. I thought you would go with that one, but I that's too new of a movie, and I think that's why those actors haven't really made an impact yet.
No, they're great. They're great performances. I love, but I don't know them, or like all the other actresses in the first two. I can name other movies that they've all been in that are great, and they all have a resume.
It's got a star. It's got more star power, I guess. And even that 06 movie, when that came out, Mary Elizabeth Winstead was still new to the game, but some of the Michelle Trachtenberg, she was again Harriet the Spy. She popped up on Nickelodeon all over the place. She was Buffy's little sister, I think, on the TV show. And, a lot of the other, and obviously Lacey, I can't pronounce her last name. At that point, I think she had the Lost in Space movie that came out in the 90s. And I think, again, Party of Five. So you were familiar with her in a lot of
but you had Kristen Cloak, right? She was in the Final Destination movies.
Yes, exactly.
She was big at the time.
Which I believe Glenn Morgan, didn't he direct a Final Destination film?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So.
She was big at the time. She was in she was in Willard as well.
Yeah. So
she
might be married to the director.
It's quite
Is she?
possible.
Possibly.
It's quite possible.
But yeah, it's tough. Which one you going with? You got to pick one.
Man. Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder, man. They're phenomenal. Like, I'm
going with the same. Literally, I'm looking at it. My favorite is the 74. Is the original. Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder. We're not
John Saxon.
John Saxon. So I have it in parentheses in my notes here. The cops. As much as
I hate them though. I hate those cops. They are what I don't like about the movie.
So,
but we'll get there. We'll get there.
So I like him.
John Saxon is phenomenal.
Yes. I love how urgent he is with everything. I love the scenes of him concentrating with the phone to his ear, talking to Olivia Hussey, telling her what to do. Like, we're going to tap the phones, keep them on. You got to keep them on longer. Like, I love all those scenes. I know what aspects you don't like of the
He's
of
a
the
great cop,
precinct.
and he plays it quite often. He played a cop in quite a few movies.
Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the most famous roles he's had. So,
he played a cop. He played a tough guy for a long time.
Yeah.
He was. This is what's going to get me strung up. He was what Clint Eastwood wishes he could be.
Damn.
John Saxon is the badass that Clint Eastwood wishes he could be. If John Saxon was in the Dollars trilogy, I'd watch that shit.
What's the John Saxon movie with the zombies? And
that's the one he directed.
Yeah, what's the name of that movie?
It's a prison. I literally just watched it a couple.
A lot of Italian influence in that.
Yeah, it's the one movie he directed. Death House.
Yeah.
Zombie Death House.
Yes. I always like John Saxon. So like him being in the movie, like I'd have to go with the original cast. I'm glad you're there with me too, though.
Yeah,
like you have to.
I get. It's just. I love it. Just it. If you were to ask me tomorrow, I might have a different answer for you.
Right now, you're going with 74.
Right now, I even at the beginning, even 5 minutes ago, I was leaning on 2006, and I thought, it's very.
Can't beat it. Yeah, listen, even outside of John Saxon, Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder. Margot Robbie's not in Black Christmas.
No, she's
Margot
not.
Kidder. Even the other characters, like the males in that movie, pretty good. I forget the actor's name, the one that plays Olivia Hussey's boyfriend. He's good in those scenes. The piano with him playing piano.
Yes, the pianist.
He's great. In
he's
the movie
a fucking
too.
asshole. Oh,
But
he's so
plays
good. He
plays
makes you
it
hate
well.
him.
He plays it well.
Yep.
So. And the one that played the actress that plays Phil, she's great, very likable as well. Yep. So that's why I'm going with the 74 cast. The 06 cast, as recognizable as they are, I still will say a lot of them kind of come just in and out of the movie. They pop up, they're there, a couple lines, they're recognizable, their faces, then they're killed. All the actors in the movie are killed. Literally every recognizable face is killed. They have their moment and die. And I think that was the point. They're all very pretty. That goes without saying, and they all look like models from 2006, and they're actors. That's
in that one. We stay in the house.
Yeah.
The original, we go to other places.
Yeah.
Even
with the 2019 remake, you go to other places.
We go to other places.
Stay in the sorority.
2006 is very contained. We go from the mental hospital and the house, and then slowly he moves toward the mental hospital. We don't follow him moving.
No.
We leave the mental hospital, and that's it. We stay in the house for pretty much the rest of the movie. It
almost feels like a Siege movie when you think about it. It's
it
like
does.
two siblings.
We never really leave the house.
They're trying to get into the house and get them, and they're trying to survive. So I always just kind of got a kick out of that.
Lick it. Let me lick your pretty picky cunt.
All right, so next up is the plot. Which plot, because like we said, each one is very different. Which plot do you prefer
2006
out of the
for
three?
sure. 2006, yes. Yep. I think that's the coolest one. It's the most fun. I like it the most.
Yeah. Funny enough, that's what I have. I think 2006. I like the idea of two siblings and also father and daughter, as messed up as that is, that are
It's so
mongoloid, twisted. Yeah, like
It's so
mongoloid
twisted.
creatures. They both are like pretty scary to look at,
They
wanting to just go back home and murder these girls that are just hanging out there trying to open up Christmas gifts. So I will say, as much as I love the plot of the original, it's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
But I feel like the '06 one, like you said, more fun to watch. It's pretty
It is.
easy. Pretty easy pick there for both of us, I think, when it comes to sitting and watching. Just as a movie, it's the most entertaining, I'd say.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Like it's like a have a beer, watch it with some friends type of movie. You can't really do that. The original, you gotta kind of sit there and watch it and pay attention.
Yeah, I feel like
even
you could-
2019 a little bit, you gotta pay attention. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like though in like 2006, like you could even watch it on mute.
and you know
and just-
exactly what's happening.
Yep, and just follow it. And just like, yep, I got this.
You don't even need dialogue. You
No,
can
you
be
don't. You
mute
don't.
and you'll know
And
exactly what's happening.
And I've said this before. I had that Q&A with Ty West where he said, if you can make a film that you can watch your film on mute and still know what's happening, you told a good story. Visually, you told a good story. Like, the audience isn't lost.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, I saw him. It was a Q&A for The Sacrament.
I was with you.
And I saw him. Were
And
you?
I don't remember that. Yes.
Yeah, that's what really. He said he watches his films on mute when they finish the first cut. He turns the sound off and watches the film with
Interesting.
somebody, and he asks them, "Could you follow it?"
Yeah. 2006 Black Christmas, you can definitely follow. You don't need audio for that.
Yes,
So
you don't. It's so
there you
yeah.
go. Next up, and I think I know which one's taking this, the gore and violence.
Oh well, again,
Yes. 2006, right?
definitely. There's just rivers of blood in this one. It's
Oh,
gore,
dude.
gore.
Eyeball ripping, eating. One girl gets hit in the head with a skate and the back of her head is
He
missing.
stabs his sister like 17 times
Yes.
with the glass thing. Like he just keeps stabbing it, rips her eye out and eats it. It's so like
Yeah,
he
it's
eats,
good effects too.
and they make it all so like gross too. Like
Yeah.
when he bites it, he doesn't just bite it. He like runs his tongue and his
And
lips
all
on
the
it. He's all
nastiness
sweaty.
is- yeah, it's come
The-
running down.
you
It's like he
hear the-
eats a raw egg, basically, is what the eyeball's like.
And then it sounds like he's sticking his hand in like slime, and everything's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
squishy and gooey.
There's a decapitated head in this one. The one teacher gets an icicle into the head. She doesn't even get killed by Billy or the sister or Agnes. She literally falls back and an icicle rips off this. It goes right through her and kills her.
Yep.
And
the
it's
ice
almost over the
skates.
top. Yeah, I mentioned the ice skates to the back of the head. There's just a lot of. Literally at the end of the movie, Billy falls on it's a Christmas tree.
Yes.
The star
The whole
and-
through the tree.
and dies. 2019, it was PG-13, so there's a lot of off-screen kills. And the original OG 1974, besides Margot Kidder's death, which is technically off-screen too, there's not a lot of blood. It's pretty bloodless in the original.
Yeah,
So-
it's all a lot of off-screen kills in that
Yeah.
one. There's the unicorn and the main kill with the bag.
Yeah, and then when
And,
she even kills the boyfriend at the end, you don't really see
Off-
it. You just see
it's
him
off
all
screen.
beat up. It's all
Yep.
a lot of the kills are off screen. Same thing with 2019, all off screen. Not much. You see corpses. That's basically it.
Women who are willing to be obedient, like your friend here, will be spared. Those of you who refuse to be compliant will face the consequences.
All right, so next up is the ending. Which one has the best ending? Which one, Manny? Which one you going with? This tough decision.
I think the original has the strongest ending.
That's what I went with too.
Yeah, I think
The
the original
OG.
has the strongest ending, and like I said, I love all of them. So it's degrees of in my head.
Yeah.
They're so degrees of difference, very tiny, Yeah, I think the original just has the strongest ending. It's the most memorable,
Yeah.
her screaming up the stairs, and then the fight downstairs, and then when everybody comes, they figured they're under the assumption it was the boyfriend.
Yeah.
That
it's great.
And then the girl is still in the attic, in the window, and then the phone starts ringing again.
Yeah. And
it's
then Olivia Hussey's in bed.
Yep.
Asleep, has no idea he's still there. They're implying she's gonna get killed.
Even she thinks she thinks he's the killer.
Yeah, it is an effect, and then the credits roll over the house,
and the phone just keeps ringing.
And the cop is there's a cop in the front. The most inept cops, they don't even notice a head covered in plastic when it's in the window. You even see it in the wide shot. You can see it clear as day. Yeah, man, I'm going with the original, the OG too. It's just it's so atmospheric. All the shots of all the empty rooms leading slow. The camera's panning slowly to the attic entrance and then up. It's just so good. It's so great. Just like thinking that she's safe when in reality she's not safe. It's very effective. Yeah. I'd say the other two endings are pretty
part two
cut and dry.
Part two. Yeah. And it was the original film in 2019. The original ending was slightly different. There was one extra shot of the boyfriend, the one guy that survives with them, and he's still bleeding black blood.
Ah.
So that was her nod to the original where the killer's, it's not over.
The 06 one has a similar alternate ending that they shot and the Weinsteins hated it and made them reshoot the ending. So the original ending in the 06 remake was that they end up at the hospital, they get a phone call, and it's from Billy. That's how the movie ends. They both survive. But the Weinsteins are dumb and they hated it, so they had the whole big ridiculous ending with the siblings coming back and fucking all the gore. They kill the older sister. It's even when you watch it, it feels tacked on. It feels like they were
it doesn't fit.
It feels like a reshoot. It does. It feels like they added it. So, original ending wins for both of us.
I think it's just because it's the most memorable and it's the most fucked up. It's like, whoa.
It is.
It's actually not over. It lends itself to a sequel, but you don't need one.
You don't.
Because you know it's going to happen. Like you said,
Olivia Hussey's done for.
Yep. She's sleeping. He's still in the house. The cops think that it's all over with. There's still a body. Like, it's... Yeah.
Worst cops ever. Never check the attic.
Oh,
horrible.
God, the worst fucking cops in existence. Jesus.
So this is what we'll do really quick before we give our overall ranking of all three Black Christmas films. One thing you liked from each film and one thing you disliked from each film. Manny, we'll start with you. Are you ready?
Sure.
Start it.
Okay, so we'll start with the original. The one thing I like picking one. I mean, there's so much to like about the original, but picking one probably is her screaming up the stairs. I love like just her desperation even though she knows they're dead. She knows they're dead. She's been trying to get their attention for the last like 15 minutes. And now suddenly she's screaming. She knows it, but she just won't believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's effective.
Yes,
it's definitely effective.
It's very effective. Like you're there with her. You feel it. You know, because Olivia Hussey's just incredible.
She's great.
You know?
What's one dislike from the original?
The cops. That's the cops.
There they go.
The 70s horror films had a habit of making cops be comic relief. They did it in Last House on the Left. You know, there's the stupid comic relief friends in Spit on Your Grave that they're just idiots.
Yeah.
You know? They had that habit of making that campy stupidness just to alleviate tension. And I just hate it. It's not that the scenes are bad. I just feel like it takes away from the film.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Now I do like. I'm gonna start with my like. Let's start with something I do like, and this is a little thing we didn't even mention. Brushed over it. I think it's ridiculous. It's in the original one. I love the house mother, how she's hiding booze all over the place. It's hysterical. She literally has booze in like the toilet.
She's just a lush.
A raging alcoholic. She's got it in the mouthwash, in the toilet, in the closet.
That's right. I completely
It's amazing.
forgot about that.
It's so silly. Like it's comedy that works.
When she goes up into the attic with Bill, I was expecting her to just pull a bottle out of somewhere. Like, since she was there, you know what? Let me take a shot. I got this hidden over here too. You're right.
Yeah, it's great. It's a little thing, but
She
it makes her
pulls
so
the ladder
likable.
down and up, there it is.
There's the bottle. Like, it makes her so likable right before she gets killed. So I like that a lot. It's something I really like.
Yeah, it's such a specific character trait.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm with you. The cops, as a dislike in the original, they do take you away from the main kind of plot with the girls, and that's really what you're watching the movie with.
Yeah, we spend like a whole couple minutes at a time just in the police station,
like
and it's
the dump, like the fellatio scene,
Yeah.
the like when the cop gets shot in his ass. It's kind of just slows the movie down a little
and even
bit.
the two guys who were part of the search party who show up, and it's just this whole goofy scene, and it's like, did it have to be as long as it was? Why do we have to go to the police station and sit with them for so long?
They could have sped that up a little bit more.
Yeah, like
I'm
they
with
made
you.
them full characters, which is nice, but it was unnecessary.
They don't add to the plot. Yeah,
not at all.
One little one, and it's more just kind of like it gets a little annoying. And this is in the original, very brief. This is not really a dislike because I still love the movie and I love her in it. All the hello over and over again. Olivia Hussey, hello, 50 million. I get it. She's answering the phone, but at times I'm just like,
Hello,
all right,
hello.
It just sometimes it's a little bit like nails on a chalkboard when when you've seen the movie a bunch of times.
I wish what's her name had answered the phone. Margot Kidder had answered the phone a couple more times. Let her take care.
It's like, all right, Olivia Hussey with your hello.
That was the one. That was something I feel like if this was happening for real, that eventually, they would just let Barb start answering the phone.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You deal with this then. The one girl who's freaked out would not be answering the phone after the first hour of this.
No. It's odd. I get why later on she's doing it because the phone's tapped, but you're right. Leading up to that, it's really
drunk ass Barb would be like, all right, hang on, what do I got now? This is, dude,
she has the one scene where she tells the guy to stick his dick or his tongue in the outlet or something.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it. So,
I feel like if this were actually happening, she'd be running to the phone to fuck with this guy every time the phone rang.
It would fit her character.
Yes.
It would make sense for that character. All right,
drunk
06.
ass Margot Kidder.
Yes. The 06 remake. One thing you like, one thing you dislike. Manny.
I love Billy's cookies.
Oh God, yes.
I love the
pretty
cookies.
Gross.
I love the cookies.
Pretty gross. Pretty nasty. That's a good. The whole scene of him sitting there munching on them, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque. Works well with the whole tray, the cookie tray.
Oh yeah,
it's funny. What's a dislike? Oh yeah, it's nasty. What's a dislike?
I don't know. There's not much I dislike about it. There's really not much. I don't know. What's yours? Maybe maybe it'll trigger something on me. Like, you know.
So one of my likes is I like, and we already talked about it. I do like the icicle kill. I think it's fucking amazing. Yeah. Don't have to go into detail why. We already talked about it. It's a great death scene. I love how Billy has nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. My dislike, the nerdy character. I get why she just kind of appears, has that one awkward scene with them with the gift, leaving the gift and all that. Then they find her decapitated head. I get what the point of her was. They could have developed a character more in the ensemble cast that could have lived a little longer instead and made her nerdy and made her the red herring and added a more mysterious element to the movie. In my opinion, she's kind of pointless.
Okay.
I'm leaving. She leaves a gift. She's weird. They find her chopped off head. Okay.
Yeah.
That's That's really it. It feels tacked on, similar to the
she
ending.
was just a misdirect, and that's it. Her whole character, the whole purpose was just misdirect.
It's swept under the rug so quickly.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, what was the point? If they would have maybe 45 minutes in, maybe let it. But I think they find her quick.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, it's almost immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like she was almost written out of the script, the original version of the script quickly. Like maybe that character was supposed to play more into the rest of the movie, and they were just like, she's not hot, let's get rid of her. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what these guys were saying as the producers. I hate to say it, but that's probably
it's probably true. It's probably true. That's why they cast her that way.
Yeah, that's my one dislike in the 06 remake. Is just the nerdy, I forget her character's name, forgive me, but the nerdy red herring girl.
Eve,
pointless.
I think.
Yeah,
Eve.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, Eve.
So there you go.
There's not much I dislike about there really isn't. I can't even think of anything that I don't like about the movie. I really, really love it.
No, it's great. Listen, man, 06 is fucking fantastic.
I have like no real complaints about it. I think that The Boyfriend was a bit of a, maybe, you know what? The fact that the movie has an ending versus the original ending. Mm-hmm. The fact that, that's it. They're dead. It's over.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the original ending in the script, the one that they shot, to me, even though I've never seen it, apparently it exists. Mm-hmm. Just sounds like a better ending to the movie. It fits the tone of the original film. But those damn Weinsteins, they didn't like it. So, all right, 2019, here we go. Like, dislike.
Like, as I said earlier, the Up in the Frat House scene is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the coolest, like, scenes. It's probably one of my favorite musical scenes in a movie. Like, it's period.
Great. Yeah, they did a great job with that scene.
Yeah,
with her cursing out the guy and stuff and talking shit about him.
The song is done. Yeah. The song is great. The tension, the way they build it, and the way that she's kind of having the flashbacks. It's
probably the
moment.
best scene in the movie.
Easily, it's one of the strongest.
And it's the best.
And they echo it in the ending when she's fighting with him again.
Yeah,
you know, I think that was great. I think that was excellent. My dislike is honestly the supernatural element. I think it makes it was completely unnecessary. There was no need for them to be possessed. They could just be assholes, and that's it. It was the evil cult with the blood, totally unnecessary, and I think it took away from the message that they were trying to convey. You know, I get that, you know, it is supposed to symbolize.
They want to add a supernatural element, I guess, to it.
No, I mean, yes and no, but it's more that they're trying to make everything symbolic. You know, so the black goo is kind of the toxic masculinity that lives within, you know, like that's the purpose of them, why there's multiple killers in this, because every time you kill one, there's just another asshole guy around the corner. Women are constantly dealing with this, no matter how much they solve one problem, there's always going to be another one coming. Yeah. And that is the purpose of it. But I felt like it was you got that point without it.
Yeah.
You know, that the fact it's not a slasher movie anymore. Now it's a paranormal film. It's a supernatural film.
It's funny you say that because in my dislikes I have it too. The black glue. I put the black glue. The black goo is kind of pointless. It doesn't. Yeah. It's similar to the ending of the 06 remake. It feels a little tacked on. I don't think it was tacked on. I'm sure that was the intent. They wanted it in the script. Yep. But it feels a little out of left field. It would have been fine if they were just a cult of men.
It's a fraternity. They're already a fucking cult.
But more like what you would expect in a cult. Cloaks and all that shit. You know?
But that's how I feel. Like, it's a fraternity. It already lends itself to the cult-like atmosphere.
They could have just made Carrie Elways this like brainwashing kind of dude.
He's the house father.
Yeah. And
that's it. Yeah. You know, he didn't even have to be. Again, it's a fraternity.
My dislike too, funny enough. That's what we both agree on that. My like for the 2019 film, I love the opening. I think that opening scene with the girl being stalked, and then she thinks the one dude's following her on his cell phone, and then he's not. He's an innocent bystander. He just goes off to the side, and then she's confronted by the hooded figure, and then she's stabbed and then turned into a snow angel. Well, she makes a snow angel by accident and then dragged into the house or whatever off screen. I think that the way they set it up was great. And even the way it's shot, it's like overhead, camera pointed down at her. The snow does look fake in the movie. I don't know what they used. It doesn't look cold. It looks like they might have put some sort of sand or something.
No,
on
yeah,
the
it is.
ground.
It is fake. They shot in the Netherlands, but it wasn't snowing when they shot. It was like, I think it was summer when they shot or something like that.
And you could tell when she makes the snow angel, but it still visually looks great. Like, it didn't really bother me that much, but great opening scene. And that's why I was like, when I watched the rest of the movie, I was just kind of like, about certain aspects of it. I was just kind of not excited because I was like, that's a really strong start.
Yes.
And visually looks great, And then I think it cuts to Black Christmas. So I was like, wow, it's perfect beginning.
Yep.
Right up my alley. And then I just was like, all right, I started losing interest
then
there.
It just fell off as you went.
Then they got my interest back. Then it fell off again, back and forth. But it is what it is from there on out with that movie. All right, here's the hard part now. For you, I think, more than me. Your overall ranking as of right now, today, December 2023.
In this moment right now.
In this moment, because it could change in the future. You never know.
Yes,
in this
it does.
moment.
It does.
How would
Favorites
you rank
change.
all three of these movies?
Oh.
The look on your face. Son of a bitch. Which one? I don't even know.
Again, degrees. Tiny little things.
If you had to choose.
I
get that. And I get that your people's tastes can change from year to year. You have those like areas in your life where you're really in on something for a year or two, and then you're like, oh, you know what? But then I'm in on this version or this. It's like that with music. You listen to this band for a while, then you kind of stop, and then you get back into this band for So I get it. It can change.
Yeah,
but as of right now, just watched them recently.
As of right now, I think I'm with the first as the best right now. Like last year, I remember last year it was on Shudder ridiculously.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm so fucking tired of watching this movie. I'm so sick of seeing it last year. It was on Shudder and it was on Pluto TV.
All the time.
Constantly.
Hello. 50 million times every day in the background.
And it was just like, you just leave it on because, you don't have to pay attention. But I was just, by the time Christmas came, I was so friggin' tired of it. And I was like, can we just watch the remake already? Can we watch 2006 already? Because Jesus, it doesn't get enough attention, you know? The third one, the 2019 is my third. But again, and it's mostly because of that supernatural spin in the end. And that's what, if it wasn't for that, I mean, it'd be a much higher contender. If it had stayed a straight slasher and not done that stupid twist, I feel like I would be almost impossible to choose between the three, but the first one is just, it's just the classic. It's the blueprint.
Right?
It's the blueprint for 90% of every slasher film made afterwards. It's a blueprint.
So you're going 74, 06, 19?
Yes.
That's the same ranking.
I kind of figured. Like, I mean,
wow, not much of a battle royal there.
No, and even in the beginning of the conversation, when we first started, I was like, I know you're going to be 1, 2, 3, and I thought I was going to say 2, 1, 3. But after the conversation, it's so close for me.
Yeah, it's tough. They each have some. Listen, as much as I didn't like, just as a closing thought for me at least, as much as I don't want to say I didn't like, but as much as I didn't enjoy the 2019 one, listening to you talk about it and certain aspects, it makes me want to watch it again with a different set of eyes. Different. Like this time, pay attention to the little homages and things like that, the Easter eggs, and the subtext that's a little more in your face in the second remake, but. I will say some of the things you said inspired me to kind of give it another chance in the future. So there's that, So I can't completely shit on it like other people have in the past, saying it's a complete turd, it's a piece of garbage. I wouldn't call it a complete. I've seen way worse films.
Oh,
I know
Jesus.
you have as well. So I wouldn't call it like. I think last I looked, it was like rated like a 3.9 or something. I think that's a little low.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be
it's
that
not.
low.
No, it's not. Like if you pull it up on Letterboxd, let me see. Letterboxd right now the rating on Letterboxd is a 1.9.
Look at that. I think that's a little unfair. It's not
I think
that
it is
bad.
too. Yeah.
It's not that bad. I would rank it like a 4 or maybe leaning towards a 5. Right down the middle. It's got some good ideas,
well,
but at the
it's
same
out
time,
of 5. 1.9 out of 5, not 10.
Wow. So then, so I'm putting it out of 5. So I put like a 2.5.
You'd put it at 2.5 to 3.
So that's what I would give it. It's got some cool ideas, but I think the execution needs a little work. 2006, same thing. I think it's a different movie. It's a slasher movie. It's just it's a gory, dumb slasher movie.
Yeah.
What is there not to love about that movie?
It's just such
the
a fun
original's
movie.
the
It
original.
really is.
There's no the original is the OG. It's gonna be here forever. People will forever talk about the original before the other two, unfortunately. But I think over time, just like the 06, the 2019 one will come around, and I think more people appreciate it.
And as I said, I think that the original actually has more weak points in it than the 06. But the strong points in it are just that much better.
Yeah.
They're like the strong scenes in it are so damn strong.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the champion. That's who's getting the belt.
Again, it's just like Last House on the Left. I said same thing. It's got it's got Martin Cove in them, the two idiots and the two idiot deputies in the chicken coop and the chicken
it's the
truck.
Worst part of that movie.
It's terrible, you know, and these stupid like the little music that they put, but the rest of the movie is so just that it completely overshadows those scenes.
For sure.
Like you can easily forget about them.
For sure. So you'd agree, 1974 has won the belt.
By a hair.
The Royal Rumble.
By a hair.
By a hair. The champion is 1974. Yeah, that is the film as of right now.
I hate myself for saying that too. Because even when we talked about this, I said to myself, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to end up with 1974 being the third, you know? And like, we're going to have like a real battle royal about this. And it's like, I've been watching them all recently. But again, Black Christmas, it's on Shudder. The original's on Shudder. And the other one, the remake 06 has been on Pluto lately. And I watched the 2019. I watched it twice today, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
I watched it twice today. Once because I watched it with the commentary on, just because it's like, okay, well, I should get a little bit more of things, and then I wanted to do the list of all the kills. And no matter how many times I watched it, I knew that the unicorn was in there, but I kept missing it. It's blink and you miss it.
Yeah, it is. It's right in the beginning.
No, it's about halfway through.
Halfway through, actually. Yeah,
you're
right.
It's right after the two of them, or right after the three girls are attacked.
Yeah.
It cuts to the other house. The cop breaks in the door and stab.
Yeah.
It's like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
It's so quick, and it's a
underutilized the unicorn, glass unicorn.
Exactly. It's a wide shot too, so you can barely tell that that's what she stabbed the guy with.
Yeah.
But it's a big fucking unicorn too.
Yeah. It's and pointy.
Yeah.
But yes, that's who's winning the glass unicorn in this episode. That's who's winning the battle royal. 1974 is the king.
It's me, Billy.
So that was our Black Christmas battle royal.
Not very battly.
Not that intense. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, aka X now, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. Head over to hauntedhangover.com for links to our Patreon page, which features bonus episodes of the podcast.
Be sure to rate and review us wherever you're listening or watching us on whatever it is. Give us your notes on the toxic masculinity existing within the Black Christmas films. Give us your feminist take on it all.
Yeah, and as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is...
more booze.
Happy holidays.
Hello.